So here, if you go to README, I put everything what I did yesterday. So first thing is we installed the material UI. So to install the material UI, we run this command, which we already did long back. You might have the notes how to install the material UI. So we first install the material UI using this line and then putting this into the public HTML folder, public index.html file, and then we run following more components in our client folder. We have the master folder and we have the client folder. So we run all these components in the React side, that is on the client side, and you can get all the list in the readme.md if you go to my folder, Manish React Master, and inside the client there's readme, and I put everything there. So we installed the React Router DOM for router purpose, routing purpose. It's 5.3.0. This I think we did on that day only, not yesterday. So we did in calendar, Redux, parse. Yeah, 23 hours ago. That means this is yesterday. So we installed the calendar part. We installed the Redux part. We installed the parse server, parse client side. We installed the form validation. We installed the rich text editor. We installed the phone, and then we went to index.js file and we call the parse server. So we import parse from the parse and we initialize with the app ID and we give the parse.url with the URL which we have. So we did this in the index.js file, and then we went to the folder and created following folders. Like in the master, we have the server-side code. On the client side, we have the source folder. Inside source folder, we already have app.js. We install this folders, common folder. Inside common folder, we have auth folder, and we have these files. For the components, we created two folders: website 1, website 2, with readme.txt file. In the layout, we just created layout 1 folder, layout 2 folder. In the routings, we created two files, routings 1, routing 2. So for website 1, we will link the layout 1 and routing 1. For website 2, we will link the layout 2 and the routing 2. This is the linking will happen like this. I could have put layout 1 inside the website 1, but I don't know. This layout 1 I can use in multiple websites. So I keep the layout separate. And in the utility, we created these files. Right now the files are empty, but it will be updated soon. And in the widgets, we created this empty files for these three files. So that is what we did yesterday. Then we went to the routing 1 and we added a simple routing by calling the import of home from website 1 and just one route of home to that website 1 home. For the routing 2, we call the home from the website 2, and we have just only one route for the home in the location website 2. And in the app.js, we call routing from routing 1. If I call routing 1, it will be pointed to my website 1. So everything related to website 1 will be pointed, because in app.js, I am calling routing 1. So if I go to the URL in the browser, you will see my website 1 is displayed here. Tomorrow I'm done with the website 1. Now I want to work on the website 2. So I'll just change from routing 1 to routing 2. Then my whole website will be calling website 2. I think this is stopped. Let me start it. npm run day. Starting. So now if I refresh, It is calling website 2. Why it is calling website 2? Because I am calling routing 2 in the app, and here I am calling the routing component. So this component is coming from the routing 2. So if I am working on the website 1, I will make only routing 1 and my whole website will be website 1. And if I want to work on the website 2, I will just change to routing 2 and it will be my website 2. Why I am doing like this? Because my website may have many common things which I will build for one website. So I just want to use in another website also. So that's the reason I am putting everything here in my folder structure, and I can have thousands of websites here, and most of the things will be copied from other folder. So I don't have to rework again and again for many of the things which I have already done. So this is what we did yesterday. Okay, so you can grab, you can see my folder structure and try to copy each file what I have done yesterday. It is only few files I've worked on it. And that's the reason, that's all we did yesterday. Now we'll go further. Now let's try to fix the routing 1. So routing 1 is pretty much basic. We need to work more hard on this routing 1, you call routing part. Okay, so we will work how to do the perfect routing which we need for our production build. So I'll go on building this routing 1, so you have to just follow it. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me see. Okay. So here in the routing 1, we need to call few more things in the top import part. So what things we need to call in this one? So this is the one-time work. You just need to understand what I am trying to do. Even if you don't do it, you can later on get the file from my folder, but try to understand what I am trying to do. I have to call the suspense as a part of the React. Okay, and then if I go to utility, there is a loading.js. Let's make this loading.js now. So loading.js means something, we are loading icon. Some kind of loader icon should be there, which I will just now build the loading icon. So I'll go to the material UI and see the progress one. There is a progress component. So I just want to show this loading icon, circular progress. So I'll copy this whole file for my loading 1. Or just name it loading. So this will be the loading icon which I need. So whenever my page will take time to load, I will show the circular progress to the user. So let's call this one. So I will call import this loading in my routing. It will go to utils and inside utils loading. Okay, so I did loading. So you can get this loading part later from the my repository. I will not give you time now to do it because it's unnecessary waste of time. This is just simple few lines of the code. You don't have to put your brain. Just get this file later and put it. Okay, so one thing is loading, I got it. Second thing is I need to import my error boundary from utils my error boundary. So this error boundary is the file which whenever you get the error, so this will capture the error and display the error to the user. So though on development you won't be able to see it, but on the production you will be able to see the error, which user will be able to see the error. But for development they don't show the error in this error boundary. We get error in different way. So I will just open my error boundary file here. So this is provided by the React documentation. If you go to the website, it's there. So no need to worry about what is written it. It just stay provided which we want to use it. Though you can go into detail and see what is there, but I don't think we should put so much time on that one right now. I just pasted here. You can grab this file later when I commit it. So we need to call the error boundary also. This is the error boundary. Okay, next thing. Let's go to next one. I will import. So I'm importing few things which I will use it. Scroll to top from utils. Scroll to top. Now what does the scroll to top does? Whenever you go from one page to another page, generally if you are scroll to the bottom of the page, when you go to another page, you are not scroll to the top. So user will see the bottom only. So the scroll to top component will make us move us to the top of the page. So let's put the scroll to top, and I'll just show you important thing in the scroll to top, how we are achieving that thing. So I'll put the code and then I will show you. So in the scroll to top, generally I check the path name. Path name is a URL path name, and if that is changed, we call this command window.scroll to 00. 00 means scroll to the top. So whenever we change the URL, this is the we are moving the user to the top of the page. Only thing you need to understand is this one, window to scroll to. Okay, rest you can copy everything. No need to understand rest now. Okay, with router part we will do some other time in some other part. Rest other thing you just need to understand that this part is important, how we are scrolling to the top. Okay, so this is important to know how we are scrolling to top. And what is the path name? Path name is the URL. Path name is URL which is changed. Whenever you will change the URL, we scroll to top. These two important things are to be noted. So we call this scroll to top here. Next thing which we will do is, okay, let's try to do first these three things and we will add few more things now in a bit. So first thing is my error boundary. So we have to wrap whole thing inside the my error boundary. So I'll create a my error boundary and take everything, put it inside the my error boundary. Second thing is we need to call the suspense. So after my error boundary, we need to call suspense, and suspense need a fallback component. So I'll say fallback equal to. So if so what does the suspense does? Suspense load this fallback component till the real component is ready to load. Okay, so we need to. So which component we need to call is this loading part. So I will call this loading component till my real component is loaded. Okay, so this is a temporary component which is called till we get the real component. Real component will come from here. So till home component gets loaded, we will show the loading icon, and that is why we have the suspense. So this is the component which we call, and this is provided by the React group, and this we call the loading fallback. Okay, so next is browser route, and after browser router we will put the scroll to top. So this scroll to top should be inside the browser router. Okay, so this we put it scroll to top. Scroll to top means if URL is changed, then we scroll the user to the top of the page. Okay, now we are calling this home component directly, importing this home component directly. So let's say if we have one component, then it's fine. We have few components, it's fine. But tomorrow, if you have thousands of components, so when you call import, that means thousands of components will be loaded when the page will load, and that will slow down the page. So we don't have to call the home component immediately till it is called by this route. So what we will do, we will put it in the variable and we will load it lazy as a lazy loading. Lazy loading means it will be load when it is needed. So whenever this route will be called, then only home component will be loaded. And till this home component is loaded, we call this fallback loading icon. So loading icon will be displayed till the home component is loaded. So to call this home component as a lazy load, we write down like this: constant home is equal to react.lazy. And inside react.lazy, we have arrow function, and the function is imported. Import the statements, whatever we want to import it. So it will import this part. And here, yeah, this is fine. So we will delete this part and we will call the component using this way. All above components has to be called with the import, but the components which will come inside the routing path has to be called through lazy loading using this syntax. And once I will commit the code, you will see get the syntax, you can get it. So if I have 1,000 components also now, they will not be loaded when the page is loaded. They will only be loaded when this routing is called. Let's say if you go to this path, then only the home will be loaded. If we have 1,000 URL different, all will be called whenever the particular URL is put in the URL. So that's the reason we are calling this way. Okay, so now like we have the home component, we will create one more component. That component is called not found. So tomorrow if you call something which is not there in the URL, then you call this not found component. So since not found is a generic one, it will be used in many of the websites. So I don't want to put in the website one. I will create this component inside my common folder. Inside common folder, I will create a new file called a notfound.jsx. It will be RFCE, and I'll say page not found. Later on, I will make it little fancy. Right now, I don't need to put it fancy. And in the not found, I will say import from common not found. So this is the not found. So I will create one more URL for the not found. Here I'll say not found. Now what if you go to this URL not found, we are calling this component. If you are going to /path, we are calling the home component. Okay. So now I will write something that if we don't get any URL which user has put, then we will redirect it to the not found. So for example, if you put /abc, which is not there, so it will call this not found and we will show this component. So to do that, in the last part, we have to call the redirect. So need to call the redirect from the React router DOM. So what I have to call after both the routes, I have to call the redirect. That means if we don't find any URL, call the redirect, and redirect will be to not found. Okay, so what happens if you put this URL, it's fine, we are calling this component. If you are putting /, then fine, we are calling the home component. But if we are calling something /abc which is not there, it will go to the not found, and not found will call this route, and user will see not found. Let's test this condition. So we are here, if I try to put something blah 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 blah, so it is not going to page not found, that is not found. because that URL doesn't exist. So we redirect it to the user to this page. Okay, so we created this component. Now let's try to drill a little bit more. So I created the route component like this. Let's try to see another way how we can write this route component. I will put the route component, and here instead of putting this component, I will try to use different way. But let's put first the path. Path will be, let's say if I go to /home and path is exact. So instead of calling this component directly, what is the another way of using this component, calling this component? So another way of component is render. We call the render, and inside render we have the arrow function. And this arrow function will give me some props. I will name it as matching props. You can call anything, but I'm just calling matching props or match props. Okay, let's put match props. I will try to do console.log of this also. Match props is match props, so that you can see what is coming here as a match props. Now here I will return. I have to return something, so I will return the component home. So I will return this component like this, home. I can return the component home because I want to call home component. So I'm calling this home component, but in a different way. Previously I just say component equal to home. Now I'm calling the home component in the render part. In the render part is arrow function, and we have to return the component which we have to call. And here it will get matching props. So whatever we are coming in match props, I will just pass as a spread operator here. I can also put any custom attribute which I want to pass. For example, name equal to Manish. Here we cannot pass the custom name key value pairs as a props, but in this part, when I'm using render, I can put n number of this key value pairs as a name value. Here, if I'm going to this component, home will get all the props which are coming here as a match props. But when I go with this method, I will get all the props which I'm getting here, but addition I'll get this one also, name equal to Manish. So that way I can do many customization also, which we will see in a bit. So let's answer the question. So why we are putting first not found component? Not found will be called when you go to the URL not found. You can put it first, or you can put it before redirect. You have to put before redirect. Anywhere you can put not found here. So it will not go to this path unless you put this in the URL. If you put this in the URL, then only this will be called. So if user will try to put slash, we are getting this component, it will get this component. If user is putting /home, we are entering this part. If user will put /not home, we are entering not home. But if you are putting something /abc and it is not there here, not there here, not there here, so it will go to redirect part. Redirect will call /not found, which will call this part not found. So we will see the not found component. So it does not matter if I put it at the top or bottom, but it should be before redirect. Okay, let's try to see difference between this and this one. Here also I'm calling home, and home component will get props which are similar to this match props. Let's go to the home and try to print the props. You have to go through this video again and again because this consists of something you need to understand. You have to watch it again and again. to understand what I'm saying. And we won't be working on routing again and again, because once we are done, we will copy paste this routing file to all other files which we will build it. Okay, so let's refresh it. Now you will see I'm going to the /URL. I will repeat what I said in a bit, but let's try to see what we have done for now. So right now I'm going to /page and home component is called, and home component is called using this method. And we are able to see all the things, history, location, matched, whatever it is there, we are getting it. Now if we go to /home, we are calling this render part. So let's try to put /home. So you will see the matching props which is coming from here, and this props which is coming from the home component, that is this one. Let's try to see the props here. We have history, location, match, static, same as we got previously, but we have one more name equal to Manish, which I am passing specifically here. Whereas matching props is nothing but we got in the previous props. Okay, so here we are getting the props which are common to this and this, but here I am adding one more thing, that is the name equal to Manish. Right now I don't need it, I will remove it. So both of them will get the same props. Okay, let's try to see now. So I'm on the home page. We see 4 properties, and if I'm removing it, I see 4 properties. So either it's option, you can go with this route or you have to go with this route. Let me explain you this route again. This route we already know that to call any route, we have the path, exact, and the component which we have to call. That's the simple one. But this one, we have the path, exact, but instead of the component, we have the render method. Render method is nothing but it will return the component which we have to show, like in the home. And the render method is the arrow function, and we get the props here which we have to pass here to the home. If I don't pass here at these props, then if I go to home, then you will see there is empty props. We are not passing anything. But if we go to this part, we are getting some default props. So we need to pass this matching props part so that we can get similar kind of behavior like we get here, we should get here similarly. Is this part clear? This part, what we are doing it, here we are retaining this one. Here we are doing simple component. So only thing you have to remember here is that we need to pass arrow function and we need to return the component. Now imagine that I want to show some component which is kind of, I want to show something like this, you know. I want to show some component so that this component should come in between, and we have the header and footer. So what I mean is, let's say I create one component. Let's say I create one component X. And this component will return something kind of div, and then we have the header 1, h1, it will say header. So kind of layout, maybe a navigation bar or the footer, and I want to display in between header and footer, I want to display whatever component I want to render. So for example, I want to render home component, but I want to render home component inside here. So what I can do, I can call the X component, and I will close this X component, and I will put the home component in between. And okay, so what will happen? We are calling the X component, and we are calling the home component in between. So what will go? This home component will go inside this X component, and we will be able to see header and footer. So if I go in the browser, So since I'm in the main root URL, that means I'm calling this one. So it is not rendering the header and footer. Header and footer will be rendered only here. If I'm calling this one, that means I'm not calling the layout. Layout is this part. Let's name this layout or render layout. Okay, some name it something render layout. So instead of X, I will say render layout. So what I'm doing, I'm calling the render layout, and I'm trying to put this. I'm trying to put this home part inside this render layout, right? So what will happen when I will call /home? I'm calling render layout, and inside that I will call this home component. So if I refresh this, this home component will not show it, but if I go to home, you will see header and footer is coming from this render layout. But we are not seeing this one, right? Okay, I am thinking to put this as a layout. Sorry, layout is the better name. Okay, I am able to see the layout part, header and footer. See header and footer. I'm able to see header and footer, but why this is not coming? Can anyone tell me? Why this home is not coming here? The reason is we have not used this home component here in this layout. So to call this home component inside this layout one, you see that I created the layout component and I wrapped the layout component. So this part, middle part is called the children. This is called the children of the layout component. So unless I don't use the children here, it will not be visible. So here if I pass props, then here I can say props.children. So when I say props.children, it will render the inside part of this layout. Now you see I am showing it here. So what I did, I wrapped this layout component with this home component with this layout component. Layout is my different header and footer. Let's say tomorrow I don't like this layout. I want to create new layout. So I will name it layout number 2. So here the header will be something different, my new header. Footer will be my new footer. Now I want to call layout 2. So I can replace this layout with this layout 2. Or maybe I can use different URL for layout 2. Maybe my website has many URLs with different layouts. So maybe I can say /test. If I go to /test, I want to call layout 2. So I'll just pass the layout 2 here. So if I go to /home, it is calling home component but surrounded by layout. If I'm calling directly /, it is calling home component surrounded by nothing. If I am calling /test in the URL, it is calling the home component but with the layout 2. So it will be called layout 2. So let's try to test this condition. I'm calling the /, it is calling without any layout, top, header and footer. If I'm saying home, then it is calling my first layout, header and footer. And if I'm calling test, it is calling test. It is calling my layout 2 with my new header and my new footer. So what I did, I called layout in the first URL, and in the second one I called the layout 2. And we can make any kind of layout, and wherever we want to show this content, we just say props.children. Is that clear? This part. Okay. Now let's go further a little bit more. I I want to put this route part. I want to put this route part. See here, I need to call this render part again and again like this, right? So let's put this route part in another component. So let me create another function, route with layout. I just name it. You can name it anything. And here I will return this route part. Okay, so I'm calling it with, let's call it here for, let's make it here. Okay, we can move anywhere we want, but I just put it here right for now. So now what I did, I call this I created a new component which has this routing part. Okay, so let's create another one, another route now. Or I can call this one, sorry, I will call this one route with layout. So now I'm calling route with layout component. So when I call this route with layout component, instead of text, I will put something called as view in this route with layout. So I created route with layout with the hard-coded path and hard-coded layout. And so if I call this route with layout, what will happen? What will happen when I go to /u? It will call the layout to, and it will call the component home. That's going to happen. So if I say view, it will call layout 2 because I put layout 2 in this one. Let's put layout 1. So it will call the layout. Let's call the layout part. Now it's calling the layout 1. So whenever I go to /u, whatever I gave the layout, which is appearing here, which is appearing on the page. Now I want to make this dynamic, okay, so that I can pass any layout and I can pass any path on it. Okay, that's what I want to do it. So I will just say something to you and then you have to tell me how. Okay, I will give you some hint kind of thing and then you have to tell me more. Let's say I'm getting this props. Okay, so now I will do console.log of props so that you can see. Okay, let's take what is coming in console.log. Let's remove the console from here so that we should not worry about this one. So I'm refreshing this one. So you will see what props is coming. These are the props coming to this one. These are the location automatic props which are coming here. Okay. Now we will try to put some of the props here. So for example, I will put that I want path of XYZ. So I'm giving the path. And I want to give exact also. Okay, let's check now. Okay, so I'm not getting any. If I put view, it's redirecting it to this one. Why? I just give layout with path of this and exact equal to this. I have the layout. Okay, yep, here I'm giving path is XYZ, but this path is only passed here as a route with layout. This path will not be used. Path is exactly here /view. Okay, I'm just passing path here as a props. and I'm not getting it. Let's see why. Let me remove this redirection for now. I will now give you, okay, redirect is given but not used. Let's try this one. Okay, somehow the path which I am passing is not going correctly to this route with layout. Okay. Okay, so this is not to be worried about right now. I'm not concerned about path right now so much. Okay, let's put the path here XYZ, and let's try to take this path here as props dot path. Okay, and let's put this exact as it is. Only props dot path I'll take. I will remove the exact because all my path will be having exact. Let's remove the exact now. Okay, I'm taking this path and I am trying to get this path here. So it was, I think, taking automatically. So if I go to XYZ, path is coming like this. We are getting the path of XYZ. Okay, so don't worry about this path right now, which I don't want. I'm not trying to explain. I want to say that I want to pass the layout in the props. So let's try to pass the layout. So I want to say layout. So what layout I want to pass here, that is what I want to govern here. Okay, that is what my main task is. So what I will do, I will say layout equal to which layout I want. I want a one layout. That is what I want to pass it. So let's worry about layout right now. I will create one more with ABC path, and here I want to pass the layout too. So I created two paths now, two routes now, one with the path XYZ, which will take layout 1, and another one is slash ABC, which will take layout 2. When I go to here, right now I put only the layout 1, so it will take layout in both the cases. Now we have to figure out how to take this props and replace it with this one. So let me show you first what is coming. So if I put XYZ, I'm getting layout 1. If I'm going ABC, then also it's going 1. It should not. Yeah, because it's going 1 because we have the layout 1 here. So whereas in both the cases I give different layout, but when I go to the URL, both are giving me same layout. Okay, so layout is coming here, layout 2, and when I go to XYZ, I'm getting the layout 1. So we need to take this layout and we need to replace it with the hard-coded value of layout here. So if I see we are getting layout here as props.layout. This is what we are getting it. So if I pass XYZ, I am getting layout. If I pass ABC, we are getting layout 2. Now you have to tell me what should I write here so that I can take proper layout. Whether this will work if I put props.layout. How can I put this props.layout here? Can anyone tell me? Now we are getting proper layout. If I am here in this path, I am getting the layout of 1. But if I am on this path, I am getting the layout of 2. Now you tell me, how can I put this props.layout here? If I try to put props.layout like this, it will not work because this is kind of hard-coded value. If I try to put in the curly bracket, that doesn't make sense. This is not a proper valid string, a valid code. So how can I put this props.layout here? I want to take this layout, dynamic layout here. So I need to call this layout, whatever is coming. So are you getting my question? Here I am passing layout 1, here I am passing layout 2. I want to call the layout 1 when props.layout is layout and layout 2 when props.layout is layout 2. So this layout has to be used with this props.layout. How to do that? One is saying children. And any other answer? Okay, this is not here. This will not come. This is used only in the class components. Here everything is functional component, so we see only the props. No this dot props. Okay, let's try to do something. I will destructure it. So I have to destructure the props. Destructure the props. So when I destructure the props, I will get layout. I will get the layout here, and I can also get the path, which is this path. So now let's try to print our layout. What layout coming and what is path? Okay, if I refresh now, you will see props is coming this, and the layout is layout 2 because we are in the ABC. So we get the layout 2. So we got the layout and we got the path as ABC. This ABC. So now we get the variable layout. Yeah. So this like this, or I can do like this also. Const layout equal to props dot layout, right? I can do this way or I can do this way. Okay, so now the thing is that can I pass this layout here as this one? Okay, so let's try to pass this one like this one and see if it is working or not. So here I'm getting error kind of thing because I'm using the layout which is which is all small letter and React is not able to recognize it. So we just need to rename it as the capital letter. To rename it, we will use capital colon capital layout. So we are renaming this layout to capital layout. Now layout will be here like a capital one. And here I will call the capital one. So previously I was calling okay. I will see this layout and this layout is creating problems. So let's call this layout 1. And wherever I have layout, I will call this layout 1. Layout 2. Here I call layout 1. Okay. So now what I did, I renamed this layout to capital layout. And then I call this here capital 1. Now if we see, so we are able to see layout 2 because we are in the ABC 1. And we can say XYZ. We are see the layout 1 as things. So what I did, I passed the layout as a layout 1 or layout 2, and when I went here, I took the layout and rename it to the capital layout. Why rename it to capital layout? Because whenever we create the component, whenever we call the component, we have to start with the capital letter. If we try to create with small letter, then it will not work. And we can pass this prop, same props here also. Okay, so both should get the props because props may have something which we may need it. So we put it here. So now we have solved the one purpose of changing the layout based on the what layout I passed. Okay, I'll go through this again one more time for you to understand. Okay, let's go again. I created one component, I am giving the path and I am giving the layout. Both the layout are different. So when it goes to the component, I take the layout, rename it to capital layout, and then I call this, wrap this with the home component. So that is what I did it. And I can, instead of props.path, I can only call path because we have extracted the path from the props here. Okay, now next thing is that we are hard coded the home component here. Now we need to pass the home component also here so that we can call the home component or any other component based on whatever we want to pass. Right now it is hard coded. Tomorrow we have 100 components. So we need to pass those 100 components here. So instead of hard coded home component, we will pass it here. So maybe I can say component equal to home component. I will say home component. Now same thing, since component will also go here, so we need to extract the component also. I will call the component and I have to call this component in place of the home component. But again the problem will be there. This component is small letter and here it is we need capital letter. So we can rename it to component. Okay, so now component will go here as component. Okay, we rename the small letter to capital letter and we call this component. So this component is nothing but the home component and this is the layout. So I call XYZ, it is calling home component ABC, it is calling home component with the layout too. Yes, so I can extract this using the destructuring or I can directly write like Kate has written layout equal to props.layout. So either way you can do it. I can also copy this part and put it here like this and remove this part. Okay, directly I can put it here also. Now I can refresh it, it is working in a similar way. Okay, so let's go through again. Okay, let's try to do this again because things will go a little difficult. You need to understand this little bit thoroughly. I will add the redirect part. Okay. So what we did, we have the one layout and we have the two layout. We have two layout with different header and footer. Now, if I call this layout with the child component, that child component will be displayed here. Okay, this is the purpose of the layout component. Now we may have hundreds of URL. I want some URL to call the layout 1, that is this layout. I want some component to call the layout 2, that is this component, this layout. So what we did, we create our component, we pass the path, we pass the layout which we want to show, we pass another layout which we want to show in another component, another routing, and we put the component. Right now I have only home component, so I put home component in both the places, but later on I may have 100 of different components. So for each component we can mention which layout we want to pass and which component we need to pass. Once we are in the route with layout component, we take the layout, rename it with a capital letter and wrap it above the component. We take the component, rename it to the capital component and put it inside the middle part, that is in the children of the layout, and then we give the path. So this is how we build this route with the layout kind of thing. Now let's try to understand what you are, what you understood. Let's refresh it multiple times so that you can understand it little bit more. Let me create this login part. So I have this login component, and let's create a register function. So this is my register component. Now let's call this both the component here. One is the login, and another one is register. Okay, now I have to give the route to login and register. So generally my login and register will not have any layout because they are self-sufficient components. I don't want any layout for these two. So how will I create the routing? Whether I will create routing like this or whether I will create routing like this. I want to create like one number or two number. One number, correct, because we don't need any layout. So let's create another route for it, where I'll say component equal to login, and I'll say path equal to /login and exact. Okay, so this is my login path. Let's do the for register also, because we don't need any layout. So once user is logged in or registered, he will go inside the site, and once he is inside the site, I don't want him to be in the blank. I want him to have the component to layout. So let's delete these two. I don't need it. And I want the layout one only. So I will call the home component when path is / with the layout. So now what I am doing it. So these two does not need the layout. So I put it outside the layout part. Let's see if I add one more. Let's put one more, forgot. This is the forgot password. So where you want to put it? Inside the route with layout or here? One or two? One or two? One, because no, not one. This is one and this is two. Sorry, this is different one. So forgot is also similar to login. So we have to put without route with layout. Okay, so we will put this forgot here. Let's try to put another one called as logout. Logout means user is logged in to the site, and we don't want any empty thing. We want to show the layout after user logged in. So I should put it route with layout or with route only. Route with layout, right? That means route with layout. It will be with route with layout, because logout is something allowed to only one with who is already logged in. So we have to use this one. No, logout will be with route with layout because he is logged in. I want him to be on the page. So it will be with layout. So here I'll say logout, and I'll call the layout, and the component is logout. Are you getting me? Why I put call logout in the route with layout? Because logout page will be, it's not logged out. It will be having the button, and it will give user whether you want to log out from our website. So it's not that user is logged out. It is only the confirmation that you have to log out. Click below to log out. Okay, so he is logged in. He is seeing the layout kind of thing. I am not logging him out when he go to log out. I will give some message, and if he click the button, yes, log me out, then he will be logged out. Okay, so this is the message only. So we need to show this in the layout part. That's why I put this in the layout part. So what I am doing in the layout part, I am passing the layout which I want to show. Which layout I want to show? Layout 1. So the layout will go, we will make it capital, we will wrap around a component. Component will go as a small, we make it capital, and we put it as a children of the layout. And we put the path which will go path. So we are manipulating the component with the layout. Okay, let's try to add few more. Let's delete this layout 2 for now. Let's try to add one new file called as user profile. So once the user is logged in, I want to take his profile, like his gender, his marital status, his education, his anything, birth date, age, blah, blah, blah. So this user profile, whether it should go with 1 or 2. 1 is route with layout, 2 is route. Two is route without layout. Ashok Kumar is saying 2. 2 is route without layout. And route with layout is 1. So Ashok is saying 2, that means route. Kate is saying route. Shweta is saying 1. 1 is route with layout. Sonu Singh is saying 1. So the correct answer is route with layout, because we want to show the layout. Once the user is logged in, we want to put the user profile. User profile is something which user is already logged in, so he should see the top and bottom part of the page also. So it should be 1. Answer is 1. Anyone who is logged in, we want to show the layout. So since user profile he has to update after he has logged in, we will not put whole user profile in the register page. On the register page, we will only take name, last name, and username and email. But when he logs in, then we will take his profile, user profile. User profile is logged in view. That means answer is 1, route with layout. Okay, only so these 3 part will be without layout, rest other part will be the layout. So let's try to put this route with layout in some another file, which is here, this route with layout. So I will put it here. And we need to import this route path. So let's import it. Okay, rest everything will come here. So instead of writing it here, I will call it from that file. So I will import route with layout from utils route with layout. So now this route with layout will come from here, and our every website, whenever we want to use the layout, we will use this component. We don't need to write it again and again. Okay, and let's put this layout part also inside the layouts and layout 1. Inside layout 1, I have the layout 1.jsx. I will put it there. This is my layout 1. And in the routing 1, I will import it. Okay, so inside layout 1, I have layout 1 file and I'm importing the layout 1. So I'll delete this layout 1 here. So my whole website, which is website 1, will be using the layout 1. And this route with layout is common to all the websites. Only the website 1 will be using layout 1. So these are the components which I will be calling it. And this is the routing for each one of you. You go through the video again and again to understand this again what we did it. So let's try to copy this routing for the routing 2. Okay, so I will just do one by one line and we will see, go through it once again. I am removing all. Okay, so we are routing 1. Let's put it in the routing 2. So let's copy this line and we have to change this line with suspense. We import all the statements. Here we will put import. Then we have the loading. We call the loading icon. Let's put few more things. We call the error boundary, which is same. We put scroll to top. This one. Then we put route with layout, which is here. But instead of the layout 1, we will call the layout 2. So let's build the layout 2 also. And this is layout 2. Here I'll say new header 2. I'll say header 2 and footer 2 to differentiate. Though we will build little bit more decent layout in future, but right now I'm just showing it with simple text. So in the routing 2, we will call layout 2. We'll call the layout 2. Okay, let's go then. I can call this all import statement. Only the home component will come from website 2 now. Previously it was coming website 1 in the routing 1, but here it will come from 2. Then we'll put error boundary. Okay, then we will put suspense. We have to close the suspense also. Then we'll start with the browser route, scroll to top. Then we have switch statement. I'll copy the whole switch statement and replace with this one. Here I will mention only layout 2, layout 2, layout 2. Okay, so is this clear? This part, how we build the routing? And if it is not clear, go through it again and again today, and so you can see how things go. Okay, so now I don't want the user who is logged in, who is not logged in, to go to this home component. I want him to go to the login part if he's not logged in. So whenever someone tries to go to home component, I don't want him to go inside the main path. I want him to redirect to login page so that only logged in people can see my home component. This is the requirement I have in one project. But let's say if you want any public person to come here in the home page, like Wikipedia or any other page, then you can avoid one step which I will show you. But if you are like making a site like Facebook, where user cannot do anything without login. So whenever user try to go to Facebook, you want him to send it to login page and then come back to the home page. So if I want something that user should logged in and then come to my website, then I have to put one check. But otherwise, if I want that user should be publicly available. Website is publicly available. We don't want user to go to login page without, don't want to go into login page. Then we can avoid the step which I will be showing it. So in the layout one, I will only allow the user who is logged in. So here I will put some check, and so that user cannot go to the home page unless he is logged in. So here I will import parts from parts. So this is a parts call, and there is one variable in the parts which will give me the user information, that is called parts.user.current. With this, I will know if the user is logged in or not. If user is logged in, I will get all the information of user in this variable. And if user is not logged in, then this will be empty, undefined. So here I will check if not user, that means user is not logged in. I want to redirect him to login page. How will I redirect him to login page? What should I use here to redirect him to login page? Redirect. So we need to call the redirect. So I will say import redirect from React Router DOM. I will use this component and I will call this component here return to, and in the to I will say /login. So whenever user will go to this layout, and if he is not logged in, I will redirect him to login page. And if he is logged in, then I will show this component with all the children kind of thing. So if I go here, I'll put /. We already logged in yesterday, so let me delete that part. I'll make myself unlogged in. So now I deleted all cookies, everything. That means I'm not logged in. Now if I refresh it, it's redirecting me to the login page. Right now I have not built the login page here in this master project. That's why it's coming empty. But once we make login page and user is logged in, then user can access this home page. Right now he cannot access the home page because it is redirecting to the login page, which you can see it here. Is this clear, this part? Okay, so I want you to complete the layout 1 after the class, not now. Layout 1 and layout 2, routing 1, routing 2. Fill all the details, loading my boundary, route with layout, scroll to top, and also create these files, forgot, login, logout, register user profile, and commit it. So I will check tomorrow whether you have all the files committed there. Okay, don't do it now in front of you, because if you are taking time now, we are going very slow. So some things I will ask you to do in the class, some things you finish it after the class and be ready for the next class, because tomorrow I may give you something which you have to do in the class. So you should be completed till I am done with the project. Okay, so that's all for today. Okay, so one change I will recommend, that though I remove the exact path here and directly put it there, but it seems that we need to put exact here. Okay, so just do one change this in your thing, that we need to put exact here. And when I go to route with layout, so we can do one more thing. Instead of putting path here, we can call .rest. .rest means all other things which comes along with layout and component. We are already getting layout and component. All other things which we pass, right now we are passing 2 things. Maybe we must pass more things in future. So all the things which we pass in addition to layout component will go here as a .rest parameter. And this .rest parameter we can call here instead of specifically saying path or exact. So just we are passing whatever things we are passing here, it will go here as a rest parameter. And we call the rest means all the things should be attached to this route. Rather than passing path or exact or it separately, we'll pass it like this. Okay, so this is the right way we are in the login page. If I was not passing exact, somehow it was not taking it, we can drill into it to see it, but it's not required. So just make this change kind of thing. We pass rest here and take rest here. And similarly in the layout 2 or routing 2, we will also pass exact. Otherwise it's not working. So let's put the exact. Let's put exact. So whenever we are calling this route with layout, just pass exact also.